Welcome, everyone. I'm Jordan Sharp, and this is once again another new series here at sportsbookreview.com. We're kind of dubbing it the Swinger versus the Sharp, but I think it's going to be called the Swinger Dull versus Sharp, I think is what it's going to end up being called by the end of the season here. But we're going to have a little handicapping contest between me and Swinging Johnson, and he joins me right now. Swinger, how's it going? I don't know how you think you're going to beat me in this, but I'm interested to see what we get at here for the rest of the season. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just fine, Mr. Sharp. And how am I going to beat you? Well, I'll get a trained chimp or throw a dart, but either way, it won't be difficult.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard for you there. But we're gonna lead you off here with a couple of NBA picks here. Each of us are gonna give out two of our best picks here for Friday evening. Huge slate of NBA action tonight, 14 games on slate, and because he's obviously the underdog in this contest, we're gonna let Swinging Johnson go first here. Swinger, what are your two picks here? What are your two favorite bets here for tonight?
Okay, Friday night, jam-packed, Jordan, and I've locked in on a couple of them. First one being the Cavaliers versus the Pacers. As you know, the Cavaliers hosted the Warriors last night, but they packed their bags, and they got to dribble on into hostile territory against the Indiana Pacers, a team that's really been playing very, very well as of late. They've won 8 of their last 12, covered in 8 of their last 12 as well. And their last game out, they played against the Oklahoma City Thunder, 105-92 loss. But if you look at that game, outside of the first quarter, they played pretty well, and they hung tough with Oklahoma City Thunder. And as you know, Russell Westbrook was just in fuego in that game. But offense is the major reason why the Pacers have really caught fire. They're currently ranked 24th in points scored. But before this little streak of theirs began, they were really mired in the cellar. And it's not a coincidence that in the 8 games they've won, in each of those games, they broke the 100-point barrier. In the 4 games they've lost in their last 12, they failed to do just that. The team is currently ranked 7th in points allowed, 7th in rebounding. I think they're going to match up very well with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, the Cavaliers have got to get on a plane. They've got to get back into Indiana. And if you look at the last time these two teams met, which I believe was on February 6th, they were in Indiana. And coincidentally, Cleveland had just come off a game the night before where they won 105-94 to the Clippers and came into Indiana, and they were just kind of beat up. Indiana, 6-point underdogs, back then won 103-99. And here we are again. It's exactly the same thing. Indiana's had some time off, and the Cavaliers are going to be a little wary. And again, the odds makers are giving us 6 points. I say, why not grab it? And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I think you maybe. I think the 6 maybe dropping down here before the game time here. But I do think that you may be onto something here. But Cavs haven't been that bad on no rest this season. 7-8 against the spread, coming off of a back-to-back this year. Going to be very hard for Indiana to stop that guy. You know, what's his name? He's pretty good at basketball. LeBron James, I think, he goes by. So I don't know if I'm on board with that one. But what's your second pick here tonight?
Okay, second one's late game, Jordan. We're looking at the Spurs versus the Kings. And as you know, the Spurs' woes on the road, particularly since that rodeo came to town, it's been tough. No question about it. They have yet to win a game since the All-Star break. Matter of fact, in their last contest, tangling with the Portland Trail Blazers, they lost 111-95. Spurs were 3.5-point underdogs. But you know what? They could have been getting 13.5 in that game. It still wouldn't have been a cover. But the things are going to get right, and they're going to get healthy Friday night for the Spurs, because they're playing in Sacramento. And the big problem for San Antonio is the fact that they've just been allowing way too many points. They've allowed an average of over 107 points per game. In the last 2 contests, they only shot 42% from the field. And you know what? This kind of thing just doesn't continue. The San Antonio Spurs, the defending champions, taking on a team like the Sacramento Kings, obviously not very good, but certainly they've gotten a little jolt from George Karl, who was brought in after the break to kind of I don't know, a little adrenaline boost for this team. And I think the odds makers are looking at the funk that the Spurs are currently in, and the fact that the Kings look like they've been energized and they're playing with a little spunk. DeMarcus Cousins got into a little shoving match in the last game out. Looks like they're getting a little froggy, but that doesn't matter because the Kings are the Kings and the Spurs are the Spurs, and this is a perfect situation for the Spurs to get very, very pissed off about what's been going on recently. And you know what? This is just a great chance for them to absolutely bury one of the weak sisters in the NBA. I'm saying take the San Antonio Spurs on the road, lay the 5, and you're going to cash a ticket.
Yeah, I think Swinger Johnson's onto something here, guys, because if anybody knows anything about old man value here, it's the Swinger. Spurs obviously undervalued here at -5 on Friday night here against a team like the Kings. Doesn't matter where the game's being played. So yeah, I think I'm on board with that one definitely here. So here's where I'm going here on Friday night. Really like the game here that we're going with Minnesota and Chicago here this evening. Chicago comes in as 6.5-point favorites, and after the loss of Derrick Rose, even before the loss of Derrick Rose, this team wasn't blowing out anybody. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, surprisingly, after they've gotten healthy, kind of climbing up the standings here. They're not going to be, they're still going to be a big lottery team here in the Western Conference, but Minnesota has been actually pretty solid here, and Chicago has been the exact opposite of that at home against the spread, 5-20 in the last 25 games against the spread at home. Whereas the Wolves here coming into this one, 7-0 against the spread following an ATS win, and I believe they are around 6-2, I think, in the last 8 games against the spread, if I have that one right. So I do believe that the Wolves here can cover this one at +6.5 against the Chicago team, down their best player. On the road will be tough, but as I said, Chicago not very good at home this season. What do you think of that one, Swinger?
Hey, Jordan, you're making a lot of sense, and that's what's got me scared. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I think the T-Wolves have a lot of value here, and especially you being a Chicago guy, I got to give you props for going the other way.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Bulls are the Bulls this year. They as I said, they haven't played well at home. Loss of Derrick Rose, and I think that they're a little down in the dumps right now. Emotionally, that's probably going to play in a huge factor here tonight. The next one I'm going here is kind of a similar situation here, but it's actually an underdog here that I really like. Once again, the Oklahoma City Thunder in Portland tonight against the Blazers. Even though OKC coming off the back-to-back in Phoenix last night, the Portland Trail Blazers are playing pretty good this season, but they're pretty predictable. They play well against the teams you know they're going to play well against, and they don't play great against the teams you think that they think you're going to lose to. And even though they had a pretty good win against the Spurs, as you mentioned, Spurs haven't been very good here recently. They're kind of in a funk as well. The Thunder are 4.5 underdogs here against the Portland Trail Blazers tonight. Even though coming off the back-to-back, I still think even without Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook has just been on a tear recently, and the big guys here for Oklahoma City that they've brought in, Enes Kanter and Serge Ibaka, have been playing very well here since the trade deadline. I think they can take advantage of this Blazers team and maybe a little bit of surprise here, a little bit of undervalued Thunder team here. What do you think about that one?
Well, I think we're going to have to part ways here because I don't think Russell Westbrook can continue to shoulder the load. But nevertheless, I mean, you do make a good point. I am always very reluctant to play teams that are coming on back-to-back games, but we shall see what happens, Mr. Sharp.
Yep, I think it's a pretty good. I think it's just a pretty good underdog value here if you're looking to gamble just a little bit here on Friday night. But that'll do it for the Swinger vs. Sharp Battle 1 here. We'll see how this one turns out, and we'll get at you next week here with an update. And but until next time, I'm Jordan Sharp for Swinger Johnson. We'll see you next Friday.